So, Olivia, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
My first question is, what would you say you have learned between your first film and this second one?
Ooh, I've learned so much as a director between Booksmart and Don't Worry, Darling. This was a much more ambitious film in terms of scope. I had a much bigger crew. We were building complicated sets on stage. We were shooting on location in very intense environments out in the desert. I went from a small car chase in Booksmart to a major car chase in Don't Worry, Darling, and I learned so much about the logistics of pulling off something that ambitious. And I think what I continue to learn is just how everything about a film is based on the brain trust that you bring together. So on this film, I had the most incredible collaborators. And I think what I continue to learn is just the importance of bringing everyone into the conversation and making sure that everybody understands what you're trying to make and they have the tools to be able to do their best work. So it's very clear to me that a film is based on the group of people, like your production designer, costume designer, your cinematographer, everybody feeling valued and involved.
I was in the press conference in Venice last week when you said this movie tried to somehow fight part of the ideology of fascism. Mm-hmm. This idea about preventing chaos in order to keep people from evolving.
Yes.
Why were you interested in that?
I mean, I think it's fascinating to think about how society is so based on an idea of conformity, and that it's very primal, the idea of you must fall into line, fall into a system in order to be protected by that system. And fascist dictators throughout history have taken advantage of that instinct, saying, if we create order, you will be protected as a society, but if you step out of that pattern, that order, then you are cast out. And it's very, very dangerous to be cast out of society because you're not protected. So I think I'm interested in the idea of chaos breeding revolution, breeding change. And that's how any progress has ever been made throughout history. But we all have a tendency to be seduced by the idea of that kind of protective order. And that's why there's references to that in the film in terms of the Busby Berkeley choreography, the idea of beauty in order. That's something that we all find very alluring. Symmetry in architecture, it makes us feel safe.
Yeah. I was thinking that the dictatorships are not always in the political side of life. Now we can find it everywhere, internet, whatever. They tell us what we have to think, right?
Yes.
Correctness is around.
Yes, I think, if we stop questioning any system, then we lose our ability to make decisions for ourselves. So the way we interact with the internet is a really relevant point, that if we just accept information as it's given to us, then we lose our power as individuals. And that's true in politics, it's true as a person on the internet, it's true in any system. The second we stop questioning things, then we've lost all of our autonomy.
I wanted to ask you about Florence Pugh. Why and how did you choose Florence? Why and how did you think she's perfect for this role?
I saw Florence in Midsummer, and I loved the film, and I loved her performance, and I thought she had such an innate warmth and intelligence. She's always thinking. You can kind of feel the intensity of her thought process, and she doesn't have to do very much to communicate that. And I knew that I wanted Alice to feel very modern. I wanted her to feel like a modern female heroine, even though she's from the 1950s, ostensibly for most of the film. I wanted you to feel connected to her as a modern creature. And I think that Florence has an organic kind of energy that doesn't feel removed in the way that sometimes when you see people playing someone from the 1950s, they feel a little less human and organic, but she makes everything feel very authentic. And so I knew that was exactly what we needed for the role.
How do you relate to actors on the set? I mean, what kind of director would you say you are? You're close to them, you let them like create and then you go and give them notes? How do you do it?
I think for me, the first priority is the performance. And so the actors to me are the most important element of the process in terms of creating an environment conducive to their best work. Now that's after the crew has had the chance to prep the film in a way that allows everyone else to feel like they have done their work so completely that now it's up to the actors to work within the world we've created. And I've learned from great filmmakers like Martin Scorsese, who allows for rehearsal, allows for actors to feel inspired and to try new things. But, I love actors, and I love allowing them to just possess their characters in a way that feels like very much their own. I think the screenwriting process isn't done until the actors have come on board, because they are really the biggest part of that creation of the story. You don't really know what the story is until your actors tell you.
Does it make the directing process easier, like being an actress yourself?
Yes, I think it does, because I think many directors who have never acted are kind of intimidated by the process of an actor. It feels like this kind of magic process, when I think as an actor I speak their language, and everyone has very different processes, different styles of preparation based on their education or experience, but every actor understands the kind of language of emotions, and I think we can connect with each other very easily on what something feels like. I think I can be very empathetic to their experience on a set, even if it's making them feel the most comfortable and relaxed and protected, because I know how vulnerable the experience is. I can really make them feel like seen and heard, because I know what it's like. And it's very, very, very vulnerable to be an actor. And so as a director, I take pleasure in protecting them and making sure they feel inspired and valued.
Okay, thank you very much, Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.